Good afternoon, and welcome to this episode of the Ad Drop Podcast brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. As we continue our spin through the world of college athletics, I am pleased to be joined by the new head men's basketball coach at Eastern Washington University, Dan Monson. Coach Monson, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I think it's just been a lot of change the last couple of months. But change is hard, but it's also good. It gets you, reflecting on your beliefs and what you want to do. And I think it's been a good couple of months to kind of figure out that I still want to coach, and I'm excited to be at Eastern.
How does it feel to be back home?
It feels kind of surreal. It doesn't feel, it feels like I'm in a time warp in certain times, like that. Wow, that hasn't changed since I was 25 years ago when I was at Gonzaga to wow, this is so much different than it ever was when I was here before. So, you kind of just see both ends of the spectrum a little bit, but it's really cool to kind of end your career where you started. My wife and I met there. All four grandparents are still together and alive and in Spokane, and the two dads are in their 90s. And so, we both got a lot of family there, and uh, so that part is really great to be at the last stages of your parents' lives too.
You took the job. What did your parents say when you told them that you were going to move back?
Well, my parents were a little hesitant because Eastern's always been such a tough job, and Gonzaga is so has climbed and to such a different level than it was when I left there. And they didn't know him as much, but Eastern was always kind of the this little brother, and yet Eastern has climbed and elevated in the last 25 years too. And I turned the job down in the mid 90s, to stay at Gonzaga when they promised me to be the next head coach. There's a lot of things that were concerning. There's still, funding issues and a few things, but the culture of Eastern Washington basketball has never been better. I mean, they've won championships 4 of the last 5 years there, and it's a very good Big Sky job.
You look at the road back home. What was the one thing that surprised you being home for the last couple of months?
Uh, just how many people have been following my career and how many people have welcomed me back. It's really cool. When you have a situation like Long Beach and basically, you know, people are telling you that you're done here and you're basically not wanted anymore or needed anymore. It's awesome to go to a place that is excited to have you, that is welcoming you back with open arms, that is uh, very much uh, a great feeling. And you just at certain stages in your career, no matter what career you're in, you want to be wanted, you want to be needed. And that vibe I've been getting loud and clear here in my first month.
You mentioned the Long Beach, how everything went down with Long Beach State. How satisfying was it to be able to leave with winning, like still winning until the very end? How satisfying was that? You know what? You have a long record. You are the winningest coach in that program's history, and you left with a good note.
Yeah, that was awesome. And like I said, that it couldn't have scripted any better because jobs are jobs, and jobs come and go, and everybody has jobs in their life. But to see, your friends rally, your family, support the players, openly for 2 weeks telling you how much they love you and how much they're going to miss you. You can't put a job price on that. It was really a cool way to leave there, and it was 17 great years, and raised my family there, and a lot of positives, going on there. And so to be able to end on a positive was really very, very, very cool. I remember Judd Heathcote, who was kind of my dad's mentor and somebody that I idolized growing up. You know, when he retired, he said, I did something that very few coaches in Division I get to do, and that's, go out on my own terms. And I didn't go out on my own terms as far as, when I wanted to leave, but I got out on my own terms as far as you said, being successful at the end.
Yeah. You have had so much success in different places and you finally come home. How different does the town of Cheney look since you have last been there as far as living there?
Well, I was, I think, in kindergarten or first grade when I left there. So obviously, the buildings weren't as big as I thought they were, in kindergarten, you think everything is, big but certain parts of Cheney hasn't changed, and that's why it's such a great, quaint, college town. But I mean, the red turf wasn't there for the football when I was there. Reese Court, I don't know if it was there when I was in kindergarten or not. I don't remember it, but when I was at Gonzaga, I know Reese Court was there, and so a lot of it is kind of the same. But I guess the biggest uh, irony or flashback I've had is the day that I went to interview there and meet the president. I missed the turn into the arena and I went a block past. And when I turned to turn around at a park, I looked at that park and I said, "This is where my dad was the arts and crafts director or the park director when I was a kid, and I used to run around this park." While he was doing his summer job in this park, and it was just a clarity moment of this is really cool, and this is where I started, and this is where I belong.
Spoken to many people in the Eastern Washington area, from coaches, just the people general, and the town's abuzz with just the feeling of the athletic program, not just basketball, but football. Everything is seemingly going in a positive direction. What do you hope to add to the the progress that you have seen EW make in the last few years?
Well, I think this job is a part of hopefully Dan Munson's legacy. I think, no matter what, and what Mark Few has done at Gonzaga to sustain a program is un, unquestioned, unparalleled, probably never to be repeated at a place like Gonzaga. But I can always say that I was there when it started, and I was a part of the beginning of it, and that's kind of what I want my legacy to be at Eastern is, I was a part of taking this to the next level, and they've been to championships for the last 5 years, but I think they've only been to the tournament one out of those 5 years, and that's something that I'd like to do is I want to the first NCAA basketball game for Gonzaga University, and we won three of them and went to the Elite Eight. I would like to take Eastern not just to the NCAA tournament, but to take them into the tournament and win some games and leave a legacy of not just Gonzaga, but Spokane County basketball. I mean, it's a great basketball community. It's got Gonzaga obviously as the linchpin or the head of the monster, but they've got Whitworth is a great basketball program. Eastern is a great basketball program, and Hoop Fest is the best 3-on-3 tournament maybe in America. So the community is really involved there. And like I say, there's room for one, two another sheriff in town than just Gonzaga. There's no reason why people can't enjoy a Gonzaga game at 1 o'clock and come out to Cheney, 15 miles 15 miles away, and come to a 7 o'clock game, and there's plenty of room for people to support both programs.
Exactly. We're going to take a quick timeout, and then we come back and talk about where you see the Eagles' upcoming season and kind of where you see them in the next couple of years. But that's after a quick timeout. You're listening to the Ad Drop podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. We are back with Ad Drop Podcast. Terrence Biggs, Dan Monson, the new head men's basketball coach at Eastern Washington University. Coach, you are inheriting a team, from what I read, of six returning players. What what are you looking for as far as the recruits? What particular intangibles must they have to be able to wear the Eastern uniform?
Excuse me. Well, you know, they had a heck of a year last year, 16 and 2 in league, and spearheaded David Riley to get the Washington State job. One of their starters graduated, and the other four went with him to Washington State. So the biggest thing I've been telling recruits and everybody is there's a great opportunity here. You know, there's five open spots. I don't think anybody averaged more than 2 or 3 points a game here that's returning. So recruits, have an opportunity. The guys returning have an opportunity. I have an opportunity. My assistants are new. They have an opportunity. It's just a program that is giving people an opportunity at Division 1 to flourish and to do something special with their career or what they their goals are, and those kind of things are all open and available here. Uh, but I do say the number one thing that I've noticed at Eastern Washington that is unique and very few programs have is it's got an unbelievable culture of winning. And you can't just come in as a new coach and bless the program and say, now that I'm here and I'm a winner, you're going to be a winner, and we're going to change the culture to winning. It's earned. Those six guys that you mentioned that are coming back, they're up at 7 in the morning, lifting in the weight room every day on their own. I mean, I'm moving. I'm not even. I'm in Long Beach today. I'm trying to make sure my wife packs her stuff too, and not just mine. I gotta, make sure we're all coming here. And so it's and yet I know that those guys, David Riley and the Eastern Washington basketball program is one of a great culture, and that's way more important to start with than good players or the people or whatever. The culture of the program is what drives you into success.
Look at the Big Sky, and like you said, Eastern has had success, and the conference itself is so spread out. Do you think the incoming players will have to adjust to just the long trips in between, or because you know the area well, you know the conference well, you will be able to help them kind of navigate through like staying focused?
Well, that's why almost 70% of all Division 1 basketball games are won by the home team. I mean, going on a road in any conference is really difficult. I remember when I was a coach at the University of Minnesota, you get back there and excuse me, you're in the Big Ten and you're the only school in your state. So everything you take, except for Wisconsin, is a plane ride to every game. And and now you look at the Big Ten, and now you got USC and UCLA, and so it's going from coast to coast, and so travel and adversity on the road is something that everybody deals with, but uh, Easter, again, this is where culture comes into it. Some people use that as a challenge and as something that they look forward to the opportunity to overcome, and some people look at it as an excuse to why they're losing. And I just think the culture of this program, they've won a lot of games in the big sky on the road, and that's been a big key to their success.
Looking for your coach. When you get to Cheney, is there any place that you're looking forward to sitting down and having a meal at, or any place that people would have recommended to you as far as one of the best places in town to eat?
Well, uh, no, not really. I think you don't get a body like mine by not just experiencing that and checking them all out personally. I'm not going to take anybody's word for it. I'm going to go from place to place and get me a meal and be my own decision maker on that.
He is the new head men's basketball coach at Eastern Washington University, Coach Dan Monson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Ad Drop Podcast.
Terrence, it's great to catch up with you again. You're my guy. I'm glad we got to connect.